want to thank you for being a little patient. I'm joined by our Vice Chairman, Joe Crowley, New York, and we've had a conversation in caucus principally focused on the work that we hope to get done this week and certainly before we finish the year. And unfortunately, the news doesn't seem so good in terms of what we can get done, given that our House Republican colleagues who run the House of Representatives have decided to break after 2 weeks in July, and we won't be back until after Labor Day in September. And so it's going to be very difficult to get much done over the course of the next 6 weeks or so. Today also happens to mark the 1-month anniversary of the tragic killing in Orlando, Florida. Unfortunately, we must now add Dallas to that list. And sadly, it's a very long list of cities where Americans have been shot and killed. Dallas, Orlando, Newtown, Columbine, Charleston, San Bernardino. The list goes on. Colorado Springs, Roseburg, Chattanooga, Virginia Tech, Menasha, Marysville, Santa Barbara, Fort Hood, Alturas. And what has Congress done? Hold moments of silence. What does Congress intend to do? Well, Speaker Ryan announced just yesterday that we will take another long break and we will do nothing until perhaps we come back in September. Between now and September, how many more shootings will happen in America? How many more Americans will perish at the hands of someone with a firearm who should not possess that weapon? Our hearts go out to the many victims and families, whether in Dallas, Baton Rouge, St. Paul, or my own city of Los Angeles. It's certainly important to mourn and console families who've lost the ones they've loved. But that's not all Congress, the elected leaders of this nation, can or should do. Unfortunately, that's all Congress has done and appears willing to do: hold a moment of silence. Many moments of silence. It should be clear to everyone by now that there are actions Congress can take to save lives. We can institute expanded background checks for those who wish to buy firearms. We can institute no fly, no buy, so that if you're too dangerous to get on a plane in America, you should be also prohibited from being able to walk into a gun shop and walk out with an assault weapon. Some 9 in 10 Americans, including gun owners, support these two measures. For the sake of the Americans who we know will be innocently and randomly targeted tomorrow or at some point in the future, let's do something. The list of inaction by this dysfunctional Congress is long. Dallas, Orlando, Zika, Flint, Michigan, opioids addiction, a jobs agenda, student loan debt. All of these issues cry out in our nation for action. But this Republican Congress simply gears up to take another long break of inactivity starting this Friday. My Republican colleagues just don't get it. They're dangerously out of touch. We should be staying here in Congress to do our job of making Americans safer and making their economic future stronger. But on Friday, House Republicans have told us we're taking a break.